What is going on, Global Trainer Syndicate? This is Vec, the Croc, to bring you a Pokemon Stadium 2 Wi-Fi battle. Now, a couple things before we get started. First off, foremost, this is a 22-minute battle. It is kind of stally at the end, but you guys hopefully will enjoy the battle. I wanted to bring you Second Generation because it is my personal favorite, and I wanted to upload to this channel. But today, I also have a co-narrator with me today. And the reason I brought her along is she is new to YouTube and she is interested in learning Pokemon. So only after a week and a half, we're going to have a really, really strong battle. And here she is. I introduced the one and only.
Hi, everyone. LexxApnea.
If you guys have not checked her out, she has 2 videos up, and you should go do that right now. You should pause this video and click this link over here and check her out. So, we're about to get started in this battle. I'm going to look at her team preview. Looking at my team, I have 1 defensive wall. Looking at her team, I know she's going to be spiking up. I can see she's not going to be spin blocking at all or any kind of such, but she is going to be wanting to set up that Curse-Lax as soon as possible. I'm looking at her team structure, and being that she has Suicune, Articuno to an extent, she has 3 or 4 checks from Machamp to stop Lax, so she's going to want to set up that Curse Sweep. So let's get into the battle, shall we? I'm going to be leading here with Von Karma, and she's going to be leading here with... What does she lead with?
I lead with Chloe.
Because Chloe is going to want to set up some spikes.
Of course.
Now, I have to commend her on this first play right here. Cloyster has like bread and butter weak special defense, but she stays in and goes for the spikes. I do have the T-Bolt that every Gengar should carry.
Yeah,
But
very good, Jasmine.
It very much is, because there's no reason this thing is going to live this T-Bolt, but it actually does with 9 HP, allowing her to get her spikes up, and those spikes are going to end up mattering later in this battle, you will see. Now, her Chloe has done its job. Since I do have this ghost, she's not going to be spinning off anything, but she could see from my team preview she's not concerned about spikes. So she's going to go right to Mimir, and Mimir and Von Karma actually have a speed tie. So it's actually very interesting watching these two go at it. I do not like these odds. I know I could live 1 Psychic, bar coming in on spikes, but I don't like those odds. And I'm trying to figure out exactly what I go into here.
Go into Doom, most likely.
Because Doom can block Psychic and resist Espeon unless it's carrying a various hidden power or anything like that.
You know I'm probably going to do Psychic.
It's kind of painfully obvious. Why I didn't go straight to Bliss here and try to burn or freeze this thing is beyond me. I guess I wanted to Pursuit Trap as well.
She did get a Pursuit off on me.
Which does a pretty good bit of damage. Just, I know I got it about the speed it needs to be. Just try not to get ahead of the narration. So she's definitely going to want to switch, but she's going to have to take this Pursuit and go down to 123. You know, 1, 2, 3. It's going to allow her to get her Suicune in. And I swear this is the most painful experience on her entire team. I really don't understand. She was using Umbreon to Baton Pass Growth to this thing, which is very, very frightening. It's like Life Orb Suicune, only, you know, no effort values. I figured Lotta Heart can at least take anything from it, but she freezes me off the freaking get-go. Like, right off the bat, I'm just a frozen popsicle. My Blissey does not like that. My Blissey's actually quite offended. Yeah, my Blissey's quite offended at this point, but that's okay. So I'm going to go to my Starmie because apparently Blissey doesn't want to do anything useful, so I'll just go straight to Starmie. Mia Fey can take pretty much everything from Coon. She just plays it safe, goes straight for the stab Hydro Pump. You know, it's still really early in this battle. And right off the bat, she's got that freeze. So I'm just going to go for the Psychic here. And it does a nice chunk considering how bulky Coon is. And the Hidden Power Electric is going to put Mia Fey in a bind in a particular instance where she's going to have to recover here. Are you still on? Are you alive?
Yes, I'm here.
So she's going to continue going for her Hidden Power, hoping for a crit. I don't really understand what this Suicune hopes to accomplish other than a critical hit, because I do take that quite nicely.
Yeah, it doesn't really go off, though, yeah.
I did opt out of Thunderbolt. I prefer Ice Beam. I like the matchup versus Exeggutor dealing the Ice Beam. And she sees a perfect opportunity to go in, not knowing that I'm carrying the Ice Beam. Trying to get a special drop to get the Ice Beam to KO after the swap here, but no bones. I feel Benedict is a very, I don't know, Starmie and Exeggutor kind of co-match each other. Ice Beam dealing super effective damage and non-stab, but Benedict being able to stack back with its stab Giga Drain and healing off any damage dealt. So I'm going to go to Apollo. I'm kind of scared of her booming straight away, but
I go with Sleep Powder.
predicting the switch, she puts Doom asleep. Now, those particular status ailments that she's dealt to my team early in the battle here are going to make a significant impact in this battle. More significant than you could ever imagine. It's like the entire reason the battle went this way. So she's going to go out to Suicidress, and I figured Darien Crescent can come in here and set up a light screen. But this is where part one of the tragic downhill fight is going to start. I guess we lagged out there for a second. We're going to go... I'm going to go straight for the light screen, but she's faster, get a critical Ice Beam, and that is done. You can say that again if you want. I'm going to cut her off.
I'll say I go Ice Beam.
The thing about it is I was knowing I could take at least one Ice Beam. Yes, it's not exactly a good idea to set up, to keep a Dragonite in the face of a Suicune, but I felt it was a good option at this particular point. Had I gone for T-Bolt with Starmie, I would be walled against this Exeggutor, but I just go straight for the Psychic once again. I'm trying to get a special drop, and I catch a critical, knock it down to 59 HP, and she's going to respond back with a Hidden Power Electric, which is also going to crit my Starmie. I'm really not too sure that crit mattered. I thought from that range that Starmie would go down either way. So Von Karma is going to take the stand here, and I'm knowing that I can go straight for the T-Bolt and end this Suicune right now. And she knows she has got to swap out, but I overpredict, which is very piss poor on my part, thinking that she's going to switch, knowing her Suicune needs to be preserved. Wait, I'm behind myself. For some reason, I thought I set up a sub and you rested. That is not what happened.
I think he predicted I was going to switch into Hoenn.
But you go into Chloe to waste a power point on my Dynamic Punch. For some reason, I thought there was a point in the battle. I thought it was that one where I subbed and you rested. But Chloe's going to go down for pretty much nothing. But again, since Cloyster has done its job setting up the spikes, it has no problem fading to the Dynamic Punch and wasting a power point of the 8 power points of Dynamic Punches. That is kind of a double plus for LexxApnea here. So she's trying to decide what she wants to go into. Since Gengar had to take Spikes damage on switch in, both Lax and Espeon threaten it outright, but she's going to go into her Articuno.
Yeah, I'm not sure why I went into that, knowing you had Thunderbolt.
Correct, but Articuno would be good to take it. And if it is a Rest Hawker, it could take Thunderbolts for days, because Articuno is a pretty premier and decent special wall. It did appreciate 3rd Gen when it got Heal Bell, but, it'll take what it can take and go with it, I guess. So, I was hoping, that it wouldn't freeze. And luckily it doesn't, because that would be breaking freeze claws. But it does do a pretty significant chunk before Leftover's recovery. I'm feeling pretty bad about it. Go for the dynamic punch. I am going to catch a lucky break and catch the D punch. If she's going to rest talk, I do want to kind of keep that confusion status ailment active while she's rest talking and toxicking and ice beaming and whatever kind of rest talk set that she is. So she actually switches here, and I can't remember why, and she's going to go into Hoenn. She predicted me to over-predicting over the T-Bolt, getting a perfect switch into Hoenn. Even if I have to waste dynamic punches for days, she is looking for that opportunity to set up the Curse Lax. My suspicion is confirmed when she opens up her team preview, or her moves preview there, to show me that it is indeed a Curse Lax. So I'm going to go out to my Iron Infant. I'm going to have to step on spikes, and she predicts that perfectly and just goes straight for the EQ. It does a pretty significant damage to Steelix, considering Steelix has like 495 HP. But I'm not really too concerned, so to speak, and it's going to pick up the pace right about now. So let's get right into this. She's going to go for another Earthquake, and if she's going to be commentating anymore in this battle, she's going to have to kind of step up to the plate, I guess, here.
Hey, now, you're talking enough for both of us.
Well, let me slow down and let you take a shot at it.
No, it's okay, sweetie. But yeah, I kept trying to curse up Lex and could have done more.
She's got to get this physical wall out of the way. I don't know why I'm lacking the rest. I kind of figured to try a couple different things with Steelix, which for the most part worked out. But unfortunately, here I do get a lucky bit of damage on this Lax, bringing it down to 173, and then I'm going to have to lose Iron Infant to the Earthquake here. This battle, this part right here is about to break your heart, because LexxApnea has gotten my physical wall out of the way, and she sees the rest of my team and has seen all my pokes, and she figures this is a perfect time, oh my goodness, a perfect time, to start cursing up with this Lax.
Yeah. I should have done that.
Well, first she's going to rest a couple turns, and I need to get as much damage on this thing as possible. So I set up a sub because I know it's going to give me another free turn when she wakes up, because it'll give me this turn, the next turn, and the next turn, and I get a dynamic punch off really nicely. What I wanted to play around here is the dynamic punch, the ice punch. I was trying to scare her out with a freeze. Well, not really scare her out, because Lax is not scared of Gengar. But I catch two dynamic punches there, and she's going to curse up again. And here she's going to break Confusion. I'm going to miss another. I actually hit two dynamic punches in a row. She's going to catch an Earthquake and break my substitute very easily. Now, this is a very, very hard predicament here for me. I'm going to sub again. She's going to get confused no more and go straight for the EQ once again and break my sub. So she's feeling really confident with this Lax. I mean, there is no reason.
Not too confident.
So I go straight for the ice punch here. I really should have gone dynamic again, but I was kind of scared of missing. And here I'm going to catch a critical dynamic punch.
Yeah, I should have went for the Earthquake and not last curse.
But you felt pretty confident. Now, I've still got this Executor to deal with. Unfortunately, this Gargantuan is actually only 3-hit KO'd by Ice Punch. I have to worry about Psychic. I'm at a range that I've taken that Spikes damage that I will die to a Psychic, and she goes straight for it. Breaking my sub, real strong plays here, keeping me on my toes, making sure that I am not going to gain any momentum between my substitutes. I am trying to ploy her explosion, and I have not gotten her to do it yet. She goes straight for the Psychic once again. I'm going to get my chance to get in Houndoom. Unfortunately, I've got to step on Spikes to do so. Basically, what I've got to do is keep her Suicune off the field, because nothing on my team is fast enough except Gengar and Houndoom to outspeed Coon and kill it off before it can rest. So she's going to bring an Undercold again.
You did a pretty good job at that.
Yeah, but it's all a switching mind game. That's really all it is here. So Now we have an opportune moment at this point. I'm going to set up another substitute. She's going to rest with Undercold. She wants to keep Undercold as best health as possible.
And then, of course, I go for Sleep Talk.
Articuno still walls. I mean, honestly, between resting every other turn, I do feel that Articuno could take those T-Bolts, especially with screens set up. But even without screens, I feel like it could take T-Bolt for days. And she brings him in here. I go for the Ice Punch as opposed to the Thunderbolt. And I'm hating this speed tie. It's just a very scary thing because she is able to just sit here and employ Morning Sun and Psychic as much as her heart desires, alternating between the two. And I'm alternating between my Thunderbolt and my Ice Punch because if I Ice Punch, you know, I'm trying to catch something off guard with Ice Executor because T-Bolt is just not going to be doing the work, and I'm going to take this opportunity to switch back into Apollo. And she sees that, and she goes straight for the Morning Sun because there's no reason to Psychic. But if she is carrying a various hidden power, which in retrospect of this team, I believe she is, I was kind of surprised she didn't use it because Doom is asleep, but I don't think she wants to risk losing Mimir on the off chance that I do wake up and Hidden Power doesn't quite do the trick. So now we've got Undercold again on Von Karma. I'm going to sub again, and she's going to catch Toxic, unfortunately.
I'm trying to get lucky with that Sleep Talk, but Toxic twice in a row just sucks.
It almost seems two offensive attacks are better, but the thing about it is Articuno is a defensive built Pokemon. It really isn't built for an offensive onslaught. So she catches Sleep Talk on this turn. That had to have been a misclick. She knew she was going to wake up on that turn. There is a couple misclicks in this battle, but to be honest, back at the point, the reason she cursed again is she felt incredibly comfortable. I mean, she had to have. She had +2 or +3 under her belt, and bar a crit or a freeze, I was not getting anywhere quickly. So
yeah, I didn't think that Dynamic Punch was going to kill my Snorlax.
Well, you have to remember it goes through the boosts. It doesn't account them. Crit goes through any boost, any screens. None of that matters. So there's actually a really awesome ability in 5th gen called Unaware or Simple. It's one of those two. And it ignores all boosts. Like when the Pokemon comes in, it just treats every attack that's thrown at it like it's unboosted. So it's kind of cool. So anyway, all that you missed is Espeon and Gengar trying to have a war between Psychic, and she's trying to get a Thunderbolt, me to Thunderbolt her and bring in Executor, take very light damage and get free leftovers, and then get the heck out of dodge because she does not like my Gengar is behind a sub, which is putting her in a very difficult position. So now I'm going to go ahead and take Undercold out with a Thunderbolt. That's going to bring us to a 3-3 game. And to be honest, this is where the real battle begins. I do not like that we have that speed tie. She here is going to break my substitute, and a Thunderbolt just is not going to do the trick. But Physical Shadow Ball is just too weak on Gengar in 2nd gen. And I could have gone to my special wall 10 million light years earlier, but I just figured there was really no point. And I get free leftovers but spikes, so I kind of alternate myself. I am trying to alternate taking these Psychics, and I wanted to get Gar in on Suicune because if she rests with Suicune, it'll be back to full health. And then we're going to have a whole bigger problem. So now Apollo Justice comes in, and bar Pursuit, I'm not going to be killing this Espeon. So in comes Suicune. Here's the first turn of rest. I have got to wake up this turn. Come on, you old hound dog.
I was feeling pretty lucky.
And I believe it's a miss-salve on my part, not having the leftovers on her Coon as opposed to the Mint Berry. But she does have the rest, so I really don't see in retrospect where it matters. And there's a couple turns that it seems Ice Beam is the choice. She's just trying to whittle down my Blissey as opposed to waste all of her Hydro Pumps. In retrospect, I believe the rest of your Hydro Pumps would kill Blissey, but she opts to go to Benedict. Now, my thought process is, what do I want to lose more? If I lose Doom, I can no longer beat Coon because I'm not a Sunny Beamer, and I don't have the offensive prowess to take Coon down. So why don't I go ahead and lose Houndoom? I'm sitting here flopping between A and B over and over again, hoping to outpredict her because she wants to beat Doom with Coon, which is the ideal matchup, but that's not going to happen.
I was so hoping to take your Blissey out.
So, Executor is going to have him and the Coconut Brothers die to a big boom, and now Coon is going to have to match Bliss point for point. Now, do remember, I do not carry Thunderbolt. I have Flamethrower and Ice Beam for Spike and Steals, and Ice Beam for Rocks, and Heal Bell and Soft Boiled. So pretty standard set. I am trying to defrost here and Soft Boiled up. And now we're just going through the motions here. I tried to speed this part up a little bit as best as I could. You notice it's going as fast as I could make it. I did try to down the battle downtime as much as I possibly could. We kind of
almost had you right there.
We kind of did it in a bit of a rush, but not really. Now she goes for the Ice Beam again. She says, I'll just freeze you right back. I'm going to go down to 111, and then I'm going to Soft Boil back to 511. A couple of these battles lately has shown me just how broken Blissey truly is. I almost think as a pivot with both having Amnesia and or Reflect, I think Snorlax could fulfill that wall space way better, but it's not as broken as Blissey is. Blissey, when it comes to a all special attack based team, is pretty much completely broken. Now, it's just an Ice Beam war. We're both fishing for a freeze. If she catches another freeze, it will be game over for me. If she had Growth Espeon, it would have been an even scarier type of thing. She has 2 or 3 different Espeons she particularly fluctuates between, and that is one of them. Now, we're going to have an Ice Beam war, and finally, I'm going to catch the freeze as it's a face-up, face-down position for Suicune.
I can believe that.
Hmm?
That's Dr. Suicune.
And she was like, it was funny because about a minute before she was like, if Suicune gets frozen, it's just complete BS on this entire game. This entire game is BS. Again, she is rightfully still kind of sore about the whole dynamic punch thing. And, you know, I didn't really want our battle to come out like that. But the way I look at it is when you break a lucky crit like that and you can make a comeback, you know, that's when a real game actually occurs. So another Ice Beam is going to come down to 101. I appreciate her not switching between Espeon. I don't know why she didn't. I guess she just figured that it wasn't worth it.
I was just trying to see if I would unfreeze.
So finally here she's going to switch out. She's like, I've taken all the damage I'm allowed to take here. And Mimir is going to come in, and Mimir takes the first Ice Beam pretty well. Now, you have to remember, for the most part, I've fought Storm enough, and I've now fought, you know, LexxApnea enough to know Espeon is a pretty premier special wall. It can take special hits a lot better than people think it can. It is definitely not as bulky as Umbreon, by no means. But it can take hits, not for days, per se. Now, I think here she just wants to play around, and Ice Beam is going to crit her. And it's pretty much a war trying to figure out my Ice Beams from my Flamethrowers, because all she needs to do is...
I'm just trying to get you to, like, waste your TP.
And, you know, just make sure that I don't have any Ice Beams. And then it's pretty much a go show here for the entire matchup. So finally, it's going to come to a point, which is not right now. She's going to continue to hidden power away, and I'm just going to Ice Beam again. It's really not dealing enough. I do feel as a PowerPoint stall, I think I could have won this against Espeon. But
I think I was going to switch out here.
Yeah, because I Soft Boil predicting you to bring that thing in because I want to Ice Beam it and kill it. But you opt instead to do that, and Flamethrower is going to unfreeze. She's down to 10.
This was the saddest part of the whole battle. Because I swear I went into res and I misclicked.
So now we have a Espeon versus Blissey. What started out as a one-sided game has become this. And finally, you're going to notice we're going to have a little bit of stall. She wants to try to drop my special, and I want to burn her. And pretty much this is getting us almost nowhere. So finally, I'm like, well, I'm going to go for another flamethrower. And I'm going to go for one more flamethrower. She goes for the psychic. Maybe. Yes. And I'm going to concede. So that was a wonderful, wonderful game. Rate, comment, sub, thumbs